My name is Donna Freeman. I'm 29. I teach high school English in Fort Wayne. I coach shy voices into brave ones. Most days that feels like purpose. Last month I carried a cake and wine. It was my dad's birthday dinner. I hoped they'd finally see me. Not the disappointment. Not the backup to my brother's spotlight. My mom locked eyes with me. "We wish we didn't have to deal with you." My dad nodded like it was weather. The words cut bone, not skin. I stood, hands steady, heart raging. "Perfect. Don't call me when you need help." Chairs scraped, forks froze. I walked out into cold Indiana night. Everything ended. Something else began. Have you ever faced this? Tell me in the comments. They erased me at dinner, so I erased my role in their story. Top of form, bottom of form. Growing up in Fort Wayne looked perfect from the outside. A tidy house, Sunday dinners, family photos with practiced smiles. But I was always the shadow in every frame. My brother Eric, the golden child, shone so bright it blinded everyone. A lawyer, straight-A student, captain of everything. He got trophies, I got chores. At 10, I won a writing contest. My teacher mailed the ribbon home. Mom hung it on the fridge for one day. The next morning, she replaced it with Eric's soccer medal. "That's real achievement," she said. Dad nodded, proud as ever. They said it like a mantra. "Why can't you be more like Eric?" Every word carved a mark I couldn't erase. He'd smirk, soaking up their praise, never once standing up for me. I learned early that silence hurt less than speaking. So I stayed quiet, helped, waited. When Mom's car broke down, I lent her $2,000. No one mentioned it again. When Dad needed a favor, I drove 3 hours to fetch his old friend. Eric was too busy, of course. But at dinner, Dad raised his glass to Eric, always dependable. At every family gathering, I'd bring desserts, stories from my classroom. Mom would smile politely, then turn to Eric. "That's nice, but your brother just closed another big case." I'd nod, pretending it didn't sting. Pretending I didn't hear my own invisibility echo through the room. My best friend Irene used to say, "They don't deserve your kindness." Maybe she was right. But back then, I still believed love could be earned. That if I kept showing up, one day they'd see me. They never did. So I stayed the quiet daughter. The helper. The afterthought. Each act of kindness a whisper into a void. Each dismissal, a bruise I learned to hide. But the thing about silence, it doesn't fade. It builds until it breaks. Top of form, bottom of form, I poured myself into teaching. It became the one place where my voice mattered. In my classroom, kids listened. They trusted me. They told me things they'd never tell anyone else. There was Lily, a quiet girl who froze every time she had to speak. She reminded me of me. I stayed after class with her, rewriting essays, breathing through panic attacks. When she finally passed her English final, she cried. I did too. Moments like that kept me alive. But at home, I was invisible again. At Sunday dinners, I'd try to share stories from school. Mom would nod, half listening, then turn to Eric. "Your brother just bought a new house," she'd say proudly. Dad would beam. "Making us proud, son." I'd lower my eyes, my story unfinished. I organized every family event, birthdays, holidays, even their anniversary. Cooked, decorated, paid half the catering once. They never thanked me. Eric would arrive late, raise his glass, and get all the credit. Mom would hug him, whispering, "You're such a good son." I'd stand there smiling like it didn't hurt. Sometimes I'd catch my reflection in the window, the quiet one, the one they forgot to see. But I didn't stop. I couldn't. Love was supposed to be earned, right? I started staying longer at school, helping students who needed guidance. I founded a small writing club, Speak Loud, Kids who'd been too afraid to talk started reading their poems aloud. Their voices trembled, but they stood tall. And somehow I found my strength in theirs. Still, at every family gathering, the same old scene played out. Mom bragged about Eric's promotions. Dad praised his clients, his house, his everything. When I mentioned my club, Dad smiled thinly. "That's nice, sweetheart," he said. "But maybe you should think bigger. You're wasting your potential." That night, I drove home with tears burning behind my eyes. I'd done everything right, helped, supported, loved. Yet, I was still the disappointment. I stopped calling as much. Started spending weekends with Irene, my best friend. We'd drink coffee, laugh, talk about the kids we taught. "You're enough, Donna," she'd tell me. Even if they can't see it, her words planted something inside me, not anger but awareness. Maybe I didn't need their approval. Maybe I'd spent my whole life trying to earn love from people who'd never give it. If you've been through this, you're not alone. Sometimes the people you love most are the ones who see you the least. And one night, that truth would explode louder than I ever imagined. Top of form, bottom of form, that night felt heavier than any before. My father's birthday dinner. The table gleamed under soft light, filled with laughter that didn't reach me. I carried my homemade cake, placed it carefully beside the wine. For once, I hoped they'd see me, not the teacher, not the failure, but their daughter. The house smelled of roasted chicken, garlic, and memories I didn't trust. Relatives filled every chair, glasses clinking. Eric sat at the center, basking in praise. Mom's eyes sparkled as she said, "He's running his whole department now, can you believe it?" Dad lifted his glass. "Making us proud." Everyone cheered. I smiled, the kind that hurts your cheeks. When the noise settled, I found courage in a small breath. "I had a good week too," I said softly. One of my students was struggling with panic attacks. We worked through it together. She's thinking about college now. For a moment, silence. Then Mom's voice cut through it, sharp, sweet, dismissive. "That's nice, Donna. But you know, teaching's such a simple job. Maybe it's time you aimed higher, like Eric." Laughter flickered around the table, nervous but real. My stomach twisted. "It's not simple," I said quietly. "It matters." Mom waved her hand. "That's sweet, dear, but let's be honest. Eric's changing lives. You're just helping." Dad didn't meet my eyes. "She's right," he murmured. "You could do more." Eric leaned back, grinning. "Teaching's fine, but it's not exactly changing the world, is it?" His wife giggled behind her napkin. The room blurred. I gripped my napkin, knuckles white. Every insult I'd swallowed for years rose up, choking me. Still, I stayed seated, pretending I was fine. But Mom wasn't done. She cleared her throat, her tone turning businesslike. "We've been talking about the future," she said. "The estate, the house." Her glance landed on Eric. "He's responsible, successful. It makes sense for him to handle most of it." Dad nodded. "We're leaving the house to Eric. He's got a family, a future." My fork slipped, clattering on the plate. "The house?" I whispered. Mom's lips tightened. "Don't make a scene, Donna. You know how things are." Then, colder. "You're more of a burden than a help." Time froze. I stared at her, waiting for her to take it back. She didn't. Dad nodded like it was logical, like I'd earned this exile. Eric smirked, sipping his wine. A burden. That's what they saw. After everything. After every favor, every sleepless night planning their parties. I stood, voice trembling but clear. "You'll regret saying that." Mom rolled her eyes. "Don't be dramatic." Eric laughed. "Always making it about you." Something broke inside me. I wasn't invisible anymore. I was done. I looked around that table one last time, my family of strangers, and walked out. They thought they buried me that night, but they were only planting my rise. Top of form, bottom of form, 6 months passed. Silence had become peace. My new number stayed quiet, my inbox clean. No calls, no guilt, no apologies. Until one Tuesday evening. I was leaving the Fort Wayne library after book club when my phone buzzed. An email from Wendy, my brother's wife. Subject line, "We need your help." My chest tightened. I opened it, half expecting remorse. Instead, desperation spilled across the screen. Eric had been charged with embezzling client funds. Hundreds of thousands gone. His law firm collapsing under scandal. My parents, who once bragged about his brilliance, had sold their house to pay his debts. Now they were broke, renting a small place outside town. Wendy wrote, "Can we stay with you? Just for a while. We have nowhere else." I sat in my car, engine off, hands trembling. They'd chosen him over me. Called me a burden. Now they were coming back for help. For years, I'd been the fixer. The one who showed up. But not this time. I opened my laptop and began to type. "Wendy," I wrote, "I'm sorry you're going through this. Contact a bankruptcy lawyer. There are good ones in Fort Wayne. I can't help beyond that. Short, clean, final." I hit send. The next morning, another email. "Please, Donna, just talk to us. We're family." That word, family, made me laugh out loud. I deleted it without reading further. At school, I focused on my students. Jamal, one of my shyest boys, just got his first A on a poetry quiz. He grinned, proud. "See," I told him, "your voice matters." He believed me. And maybe, finally, so did I. Later, at the cafe, I told Irene everything. She stirred her latte, unimpressed. "They made their choice," she said. "You don't owe them a rescue." Her bluntness steadied me. I realized she was right. For once, I wasn't the one begging to belong. Weeks passed. More messages came through mutual friends. Mom asking for help, Dad asking for forgiveness, Wendy pleading one last time. I never replied. Silence was my answer. Every ignored call felt like closure. At the community center, Roger, the coach, stopped by as I helped a teen edit her essay. "You're doing something real here," he said quietly. His words anchored me. This was family now, people who showed up without taking. I wasn't cruel. I was free. They'd built their world on Eric's perfection. Now it was crumbling, and I didn't have to save it. I'd spent years being their safety net. Now I was the one standing tall. They once called me a burden, but when their world fell apart, I was the only one who didn't. Top of form, bottom of form, a year passed since that night. And for the first time, peace wasn't temporary. My classroom felt like home now. The walls lined with essays, poems, dreams. My students thrived, and so did I. The school promoted me to head of English. A small plaque on my door, but it meant everything. Proof that showing up mattered. My desk overflowed with thank you notes, each one a quiet reminder. You made a difference. Outside of work, my life was full. Irene still dragged me to our weekly coffee dates, her laughter louder than any ghost from my past. Roger, the coach from the community center, became something steady, a presence that didn't demand, only cared. Together, we built weekends filled with hiking, book clubs, and dinners that didn't end in silence. Sometimes I'd hear updates, Eric serving his sentence, my parents scraping by in a small apartment. I felt nothing cruel, just distance. I didn't wish them pain. I simply stopped carrying it. One night, as the Fort Wayne skyline glowed outside my window, I realized I'd built a family after all. Not one tied by blood, but by kindness. By presence. By choice. To anyone watching this wondering if walking away makes you selfish, it doesn't. It makes you free. If you've been through this, know this truth. You are not the burden. You are the miracle that survived it. Don't forget to subscribe for more stories like this, and tell me in the comments, Have you ever had to choose peace over family? I used to beg to be seen. Now I shine without their permission.